Hey everybody, welcome to TPG'S world. It's me, TPG. I hope this video finds you well and happy and healthy. It is the 8th of May 2019 and it's around 8:30 and I'm going to sit down and make a little vlog for you. So let's get started. I want to cover something in this vlog. It's a question that I get asked a lot. I get asked this question in real life. I get asked this question on YouTube. People always want to know why I work in education and what I love about it so much, and this, that, and the other. And I was like, I couldn't do your job, I couldn't work with special needs, and this, that, and the other. Well, let me explain something. As y'all know, my mom passed away in 2017, and she always would tell me about how when I came home in kindergarten that I told her I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to work in education my whole life, but of course as I got older, school got in the way to me, and girls got in the way, and later on boys got in the way, party and just having fun. By the time I hit college, I was a party boy, and things just kind of changed in my life, kind of took a different turn. So I worked a bunch of crap jobs for a long time until I finally landed my job in education. And how that actually happened, let me kind of explain it to you. When my brother passed away in 2014 at the age of 41, I went through a really bad depression, really bad. I didn't barely leave my home. I just kind of hit rock bottom, real bad rock bottom. It was one of the most horrible things I think I've ever went through in my life. It was just awful. I alienated myself away from people. I became someone I didn't like, and I was just spiraling out of control. And to be honest, I just really didn't think I was going to survive it. And one day I was working in the theater that I'm doing right now, in the town I'm in the town I'm doing my play in right now. I was over there with some friends after a play. They had actually got me out of the house, which was a rare miracle then to get me out of the house. And I remember one of them saying, hey, Bradley, have you ever thought about working in education with special needs? And I said, oh goodness, no. Now, my brother was autistic. He wasn't actually diagnosed autistic, but he was autistic. They didn't know a lot about it as much as they do now. Like, they didn't have shadows and aids and stuff like that for teachers, for kids. They had teachers' aides like that helped the teacher, but they didn't have aids, what they call aids or shadows, to walk around with special needs children, the ones that need it. And my brother certainly would have needed that. So it was a lot different in education when we were younger, as far as being someone with disabilities or special needs. My brother was thrown into a learning disability class his whole life and self-contained, and that's where he stayed from like kindergarten through his whole life. And it was kind of sad because he was very brilliant, but a lot of people just didn't know how. They didn't have the means or the education or the people that really, I think, really gave a damn like they do now in education to really try to find a breakthrough. It's so different now. So anyway, I told the lady, I said, oh, I don't know. I did go to college to be a teacher, but I didn't finish. So she's like, let me call somebody. So she called the woman who was over special needs in the county that they were in. I'm not going to say what counties I work for, anything, guys, because you never know who's out there. There's some bad people that like to get in trouble with that. Anyway, next thing I know, she set me up on a job interview, and I went to the interview, and the lady hired me on the spot. She said, I love your personality. I think you're great. I think the kids will love you. And I went home, and I was so excited. My mom was really excited. I'd gotten the job. I was like, wow, this is going to be cool. And I had no idea, guys. I had no idea what I was doing, what I was getting myself into. I just did not know. You guys understand that I was a bartender and a waiter for over 20-something years and a performer in a club. My life was all about the nightlife. I didn't go to work at 7. I went to bed at 7. So it was a totally different world. A totally different world. So I was like, what do you mean I got to be up at 7 o'clock? I got to be to work at 7? That means that I usually go to bed then. So it was totally crazy, but I was really excited. First day I got there and I thought, Lord, what did I get myself into? It was a totally different world, totally different rules, totally everything. It was just a totally different world that I was not really, I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, oh my God, what have I done? And it took a lot of prayer for me to really pray about it. And after about 2 weeks, I realized this isn't so bad. And I slowly started coming out of my depression as I grew into this profession. And I have to say that if it wasn't for this job, I would be dead today. I honestly believe I would have just kept spiraling out of control. If I wasn't dead, I certainly would be in a bad way. I wouldn't have all I have today. Well, after a year of working in that county, I was driving pretty far. I decided to transfer to the county I'm in now, and which is a totally different county than where I live. But I was doing that, and I was hired here again off the right away. So, right, I was hired on the spot. She told me I was the first person she interviewed. She said, "You're a guy. We need you. You have the experience, but I have to, by law, interview 3 people. But you have the job." I said, "Awesome." So I was so excited. And I was supposed to take a test for this county, and the night before I took the test, my dad got out of the hospital. My mom collapsed in the lobby while we were getting my dad out of the hospital, so she was in the hospital. So it was a long night. I didn't get to study the way I wanted to, and all in all, I ended up failing the test by 1 point, just one simple point. So I had to wait 21 days to retake it, but when I took it again, I did pass it. It was very easy. I passed it, and I started my job in this county that I work. After a year, I was transferred into a special needs, severe and profound classroom. And that was one of the most challenging things I ever did. We had kids in wheelchairs, kids in feeding tubes. I had to learn how to do feeding tubes. I had to learn how to feed kids on feeding tubes. I changed constantly. These kids, none of them were potty trained, so you're constantly changing diapers. You're constantly doing this. Now, let me say, I had my bottom teeth knocked out. My tooth here, as you guys remember, was hit and knocked loose, and I had to get a new one. I've had black eyes. I've had bloody noses. My first year in elementary school, I had pneumonia, the flu, bronchitis. I had it all. Welcome to elementary school. Now I'm immune to it. But basically, it was just crazy my first 2 years. Like I said, my teeth were knocked out within the first month of doing this job, and I thought, oh Jesus. And it was a total accident. Let me guess that he was a little boy who had special needs. He had a helmet. He just kept boxing me in my face really hard, and it knocked my teeth really, really bad loose, and they had to pull them and repair them and replace them and all that good stuff. So with that being said, I still said, you know what, this is me, this is my heart, this is my heart. So I've had challenges, y'all. There's been days, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, that I have left crying, literally crying, thinking, God, what am I doing? Let me go back to retail. But let me tell you a little secret about retail. Since I started working part-time at Dunkin' this past year, retail is a biatch. You hear me? A biatch. Because people are mean. They think that you're stupid and you're dumb. And like the other day, this lady, for instance, in the drive-thru was talking really down to the girl on the speaker. And I can't stand someone to talk down to anybody. I don't have time for it. I don't like it. It belittles people. And I don't care if you're educational or anything. Don't talk down to someone like they're stupid. It's not right. I don't like it. So when she came up to me, she started, and I said, hold on a minute, ma'am. I have a degree. I am not a dumb person, so don't sit here and talk to me like I'm stupid. Just don't do it. So, like I said, I have a college. I got out of college. I got everything done I needed to do. But my whole point is that this lady was talking to me like I was a stupid, ignorant, uneducated person, and I'm not. I'm not at all uneducated or stupid, and I don't believe that. No one is. No one is that way. People are different, and people have a different way of life. But I would never say that. And because I work in special needs, I hate words like retarded, I hate words like stupid, I hate words like dumb. Those words really, really, really piss me off. I can't stand them, and I will just go ballistic on people who call people by those names, because it's cruel, and it's not right, and it's not true. So when I started working in special needs, especially the classroom I'm in now, I'm in a pre-K classroom, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, and these kids are amazing. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I've had days like 2 weeks ago, when I was on my hiatus from y'all, where I almost quit my job. I just couldn't take it. I was in tears. This one child has just pushed me to my limit this year, and it's just that part of it's been so hard, and you're like, oh God, why do I do this? Why do I do this? Why do I do this? Let me go back and work in this, or let me go back to being a bartender. It was so much easier, But then you look in those faces and you say, no, this is what I do it for. So what I do it for, because all this babbling I've done for the last hour, is those kids. When you're taking those kids and you're working with them one-on-one for 7.5 hours a day, no matter how severe they are, how mild they are, whatever their disability, there is no greater love or no greater sense of worth than that. To work crap jobs my whole life, and then to finally come into a job where I mean something to somebody, where I inspire people, where they inspire me. These kids inspire me every single day. Example, a couple of months ago, one of my subs asked one of my students who her hero was, and she told him that I was her hero. Because whenever she hurt her finger, I can do like this, and I touch it into magic, and it stops hurting. And that was the greatest thing. I have a kid who has given me just grief, the same kid who had me in tears, a couple of weeks ago, hugging me, saying, I love you. Today, another student, I take him to the nurse to get his medicine. He takes medicine, and he hugged me as tight as he could, and he said, thank you, Mr., and I ain't gonna say my last name, some of y'all know it, but he said, thank you for coming to school today, because I love you. And I looked at him and I said, well, buddy, I love you too, but I want to thank you for coming to school today, because you came to school today. It gave me a chance to learn something new. It gave me a chance to teach you something new. So thank you for coming to school, and thank you for inspiring me. And he just smiled, this little smile. He's 6 years old. He hugged me as tight as he could. That's why I teach. That's why I do what I do. And when people can say whatever they want to say, people try to say some horrible things on YouTube about it, but I don't care. I've taken background checks. I do all of that stuff, but I'm inspired each and every day by these children, by their faces, by the love. There is no greater love than the love of these children to me and the other people in our classroom. They make us laugh, they make us cry, they inspire us. And when we see them learn something, when we see them finally learn the color yellow, that might be all they learn that whole year, but damn it, they learned the color yellow. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And to know that you're one of the people that is responsible for that child learning that, there's no feeling like it, man. There's nothing like it. It is an amazing, amazing experience. And in my town where I live, South Carolina, teachers and teachers' aides and the people that work in the classrooms are the lowest paid in the entire United States of America. We work for hardly nothing. Okay? I make less money doing my job now than I did before, but I wouldn't trade it. I would not trade it. If I did make money, I would be working at Dunkin', y'all. But the point of the matter is, I wouldn't trade my, excuse me guys, sorry. I wouldn't trade my job for nothing, because for once in my life, I make a difference. I matter. And that to me is the most important thing. When kids hug you and tell you they love you, or a kid just smiles at you and says, thank you for coming to work today. That's sometimes the one thing that we need. Last year, when I was teaching summer school, working in the summer school program, there was a little girl in the very first day of school. First of all, we do a summer camp, which I interviewed for today. I'll let you guys know if I get it. Hopefully I will. I've done it for the last 2 years. But some of them are forced to come because they have to pass, and some of them just come. I mean, it's 7 hours a day. They get breakfast and lunch there. It's basically a 6-week course, so it's kind of like their parents can send them there, and they don't really have to go to daycare. So it's not a bad deal. And they learn intensive reading. We work with them 2 hours on reading, writing. We do research papers, the library, all of that stuff. Excuse me. They get all of this experience. They like language arts and stuff like that. Excuse me, guys. Let me take a sip of this. Delicious. So it's not a bad deal. Well, anyway, the very first day, this little girl, I had to sit out there and I was taking names and taking roles, and I was giving the kids their name tags and showing them where our class was going to be and all this stuff. And she said, I don't like you. Well, I've never seen this girl before in my life, so I was like, okay, well, I'm sorry, sweetie. I'm not here for you to like. I'm here to help you learn. And she said, well, I ain't going to do nothing. Well, a couple weeks later, she was sitting in the cafeteria, and some kids were calling her fat and ugly and just not really nice names. It really hurt my feelings. And I said, excuse me, guys. Let's talk about how people are different. Everyone in this world is different, and the world's made of different people. And I had this long talk with the kids about how it wasn't nice to tease people. It wasn't nice to hurt people. It wasn't nice to do all of these things. And she just kind of looked at me at first. She didn't say anything. And I noticed later that day, she started asking me for help. She started communicating more with me and everything like that. And finally, the last day of school, she wrote me a letter. And she said, thank you for sticking up for me. Thank you for being the greatest teacher I ever knew. And thank you for teaching me it's okay to be me and to look the way I do. And y'all, I got teary-eyed because that girl, that was a great moment to me. To say, hey, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. And I got so teary-eyed because this little girl who went to I Don't Like You was all of a sudden praising me. And that's why I do what I do. Why I do it for low money. And I had somebody today say, oh my God, I could never do your job. I could never do your job. Guys, I'm exhausted. We have 19 kids between 3 and 6. And they have me exhausted. By 9:15, I'm exhausted. I already have some bad sleep apnea, as you guys know, so I don't sleep well. But y'all, I wouldn't trade it. And then everybody's like, why do you work in the summertime? Why do you, And I'm like, because I love it. I love it. I love helping these kids. I love being there. I love last year helping these kids write papers. Another funny story from last year, guys, I could tell y'all teaching stories forever. I was working in a summer school program, and this little boy kept asking me, they all were like, Mr. What? Mr. God said, like, hey, help me write papers. Write my paper, help me write this up. And I said, guys, I charge $25 an hour to write papers now. Come on, y'all. I'm joking around. Little boy turns to me without missing a beat. He turns to me and goes, that's okay. My daddy's rich. He'll write you a check. Now help me. And we all just busted out laughing. And I was like, wow, okay, funny. So it was like just really, really fun, like moments like that you have, these teaching moments and these wonderful, wonderful, wonderful moments in your life. But anyway, guys, that is why I do what I do. I'm blessed that I now in my life, as an older man, I'll be 50 this year, as you guys know, have a job that finally means something. I wish I had done this job 20 years ago like I was supposed to, but like I said, I just decided I wanted to party and work in bars and live that kind of lifestyle rather than to do what I needed to do for what I was educated for, because I just didn't want to do it. I wish I would have had it because I would have been able to retire in the next few years, and I won't probably be able to retire from this job because I've only been doing it next year will be my 6th year, so I won't really have a lot of time to probably retire with a full retirement, but I will be able to be satisfied in my life as I've gotten older and as I get older to say, hey, I made a difference, and when these kids see me at Dunkin' or they see me at Walmart or they get so excited. One of my favorite students, everyone in the world, they call her my best. She tells everyone I'm her best friend. Her mom jokes with me all the time that I'm her best friend. She saw me one night at Walmart. It was late at night, y'all. I had lost my cell phone charger and I had to run to Walmart and get one. It was like 8 o'clock at night and I looked like crap, y'all. I mean, hair was just, it looked terrible. Certainly did not want anyone to see me looking that way. And I ran into her and she starts hollering my name across the road to the place, and she's like, I gave her a hug and said, how you doing? And I was talking to her parents for So I'm on the next aisle shopping and she's hollering my name and she says, I need an answer. Will you come shopping with me? And I said, oh no, baby, I can't go shopping. I'm just gonna get something. So she hollers back my name again and she says, hey, will you go to McDonald's with us? My mom said it's okay. And she said, I need you to answer yes or no. And I said, actually, sweetie, I can't. I said, I just ate dinner, but I got to go home and go to bed so I can come to work tomorrow. And she said, okay. And all the way out the store, you could hear her hollering my name. And she said, I love you. See you tomorrow. And that was one of the greatest moments. I remember walking to my car and I just had this smile. I mean, it was like, you can see all my teeth. I was like, hey. It was so amazing because I truly was filled with a joy. And I thank my God, my Lord Jesus Christ in heaven every day for those wonderful children and for my wonderful coworkers. Now, I had a crappy one for 2 years, but the rest of them have been pretty good. Has this been the best year? Since I came to this county, yes. But it hasn't always been. Our days are very stressful. There's days that are very easy and other days that are very stressful. And, we have some very high maintenance kids that push us sometimes really, really, really hard. It's certainly a test in your patience doing what I do. But that's it, and I hope that clears up any of y'all's questions as to why I do what I do and why I work with special needs children. Guys, I promise you I would not change it. And God, I thank you so much for allowing me to be able to come out of that funk that I was in and to walk into that classroom every single day and make a difference. Because I've always wanted to, ever since I can remember, I always wanted to make a difference in this world. I wanted to write a book. I wanted to be a movie star. I wanted to find my place in this earth where I made a difference. And I realized it wasn't in Hollywood or it wasn't writing a book. It was in that classroom with those kids every single day. I've missed 4 days this year. I just missed one when my car messed up the day after we got back from spring break when my keys fell out. I told y'all about that. And I missed one last Monday because I was having some stomach problems. But that's it. Like, I love going to work. When I worked in retail, or I worked at my old job at the restaurant, when I worked at Applebee's, I would pull in the parking lot and be in a bad mood. I'd be like, oh God, Jesus. Sometimes I'm like that at Dunkin', where at this job where I work now, I don't feel that way. I feel very appreciated. What kind of word is that? Appreciated every single day. Not just by the kids, y'all, but by my coworkers. You know, my coworkers just say, hey, you know, they truly thank me. They make me laugh. They say I'm funny. And that is just an awesome experience, guys, to have just a great coworkers, you know, and just a great thing in general. Alright guys, I'm sorry this video is a little long, but I can talk about my life and what I do in my job every single day. But I want to get this out. I want to get it out, so I got to get in the bed soon. We only have 19 more days, I think it is, of school left. So yay, we're on the ABC countdown, and what we do is, I probably said this in my video statement, the last 26 days we do the alphabet. Tomorrow we're on the letter G. And I don't know what it is, but I know H is Hawaii Day, so I'm going to wear like a Hawaiian shirt and a lei and all that stuff. So it's going to be cute. I'm going to get me a little hat. I'll show you my hat. Then I'm going to get one of those little like hats. I might put some stuff on my nose. I don't know. But anyway, we dress up. Today was fairy tale day. And I meant to dress as a prince, and I totally forgot my prince costume at home. And the kids were like, oh, Mr. Watcher, you were supposed to be a prince. There, I said my name again. But anyway, guys, all right, I'm going to get out of here. I love you guys. Remember to be the best you that you can be. Remember to be yourself, because everyone else is taken. Remember, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. And remember, hating is a disease, and some folks need to get well soon. Alright guys, check out my merchandise in the link below. Get your shirt. And I love you guys, and I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye.